Hey, what is up guys, Rafael here, back with another LEGO Ninjago video. Today I will be ranking my top 10 favorite Ninjago villains. So before we start, let me just say that this video is completely based on my own opinion, so feel free to disagree and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, this is not a top 10 about the strongest Ninjago villains, as that topic will be for another video. So no more to be said, let's start. So I will be starting with my 10th favorite villain. Now this isn't really a main villain since somebody else took the role of being villain for another season they appeared in, but I would consider the main villain of season 8 as nobody else took that role, aside from the side villains. Now I'm talking about Harumi. So how she became villain was because she wanted to take revenge of the ninja for not being in time for her parents. So she manipulated the ninja on thinking she was on their side, but betrayed them and revealed the truth during the couple final episodes of Sons of Garmadon. Now the reason Harumi is in my top 10 is because of her intelligence and how she manipulated the ninja. Her actions were really believable, and that's why she's top 10 on the list. Coming on to the number 9 spot, we have the villain of season 3, also known as the Overlord. Now not a lot to say about the Overlord aside from the reason why he is the number 9. Now the reason he is here is because I love the skill he applied during seasons 2 and 3. He faced two of the strongest ninjas, the Gold Ninja, also known as Lloyd Garmadon, and the Titanium Ninja, which is Zane. Although he lost, he still put up a challenge against him, and that is why he is the number 9. Next in the number 8 spot is the villain of season 12, Prime Empire. I'm talking about someone none other than Unagami. Now what really brings him here is how he almost made his mission successful, which is to trap all Ninjago people into the Prime Empire game. And even still, it wasn't loss that stopped him from his goal. Usually when villains try to achieve their missions, they usually end up in defeat. But that's not the case for Unagami. And that prohibition of defeat in his mission is what puts him on number 8. Next up at number 7 is another side villain of Sons of Garmadon, none other than Ultraviolet. Now none of you probably expected her to be here on the top 10 list, but the reason I put her here is because of the power she's shown and the battles she's encountered. Some battles I really love that involve Ultraviolet is the battle with Dia against her, and the battle at the start against Lloyd and Harumi for the Oni mask and motorcycles. Now the amazing battles that Ultraviolet faced puts her here on the number 7 spot. Coming next here is one of the Time Twins, and one I prefer over the other since the other isn't that cool and didn't give us much villainous contribution as the other did more. Now on this spot will be taken by Acronix. Alright, I know, two of the Ninjago villains here on the list have a tendency of manipulation as their main act, and that is something Crux did as Dr. Saunders. But Acronix is much more active and determined to take over time. For me, Acronix is much more skilled than his brother. I would say Crux is more in minds. So Acronix attributes over Crux is why he is on this top 10 list. Alright, let's now talk about my 5th favorite villain being Master Chin. Now the season he debuted in, he showed the power of really being a villain. I find him as an interesting villain and may actually be the only villain who succeeded in his mission, which was to steal the elemental power of every single elemental master. He even took the ninja's elemental power. Now that is impressive. Because of that, he takes my number 5 spot on the list. Alright, on to my 4th favorite, with that being Moro. Most of us love this Ninjago villain as his ending was a bit heartbreaking, but also understandable. Now some of the villainous acts he did was take Lloyd's power and use it against the other ninja. We all know that the reason he became villain is because he was not chosen to be the good ninja. Yes, I know, not a lot to say about Moro since I haven't really watched Possession that much, but I've seen all of Moro's villainous activities, which places him here in number 4. Alright, next let's get to number 3, for this spot is a side villain of the rebooted season. I'm talking about General Cryptor. He hasn't really gave us much harm to the ninja as other villains did, but he did release the Ninjoys which did leave a mark. but overall he isn't really a very strong villain, at least in my eyes. But as I said, Zane is my favorite Ninjago ninja, and he has the characteristic of being a ninjoid, and General Cryptor is one of those. General Cryptor isn't the strongest villain, but his design and attributes he showed in Season 3 makes him one of my favorite Ninjago villains. Next in the number 2 spot, we have the Skull Sorcerer, the villain of Season 13, Master of the Mountain. Now what makes him so high on the list is because of his intelligence about his manipulation of the ninja as King Vangelis. Just like Harumi, they both did the same thing to achieve their goal as villain. But what puts him over Harumi is his power and his looks. Lego did a really good job with the design of the Skull Sorcerer, and his skull makes him really strong. His power and design is the reason I placed him on the number 2 spot. Alright, now on to my favorite Ninjago villain. Again, this isn't really a main villain as there was another person who served as the main villain of the season, just like Harumi earlier. So he is basically a side villain. Alright, let's get to it. My favorite Ninjago villain is Mr. E. Now remember how I said in my first video that Zane is my favorite ninja? Well, Mr. E has the same cloak as Zane. They are both ninjoids, and Zane's attribute as a ninjoid is why he is my favorite ninja. Well, Mr. E is also a ninjoid, which is why he is my favorite Ninjago villain. I also like the fact that he is, for me, the opposite of a ninja, also known as a samurai. He is extremely skilled but sadly died due to Garmadon, which is why he is my favorite villain above everybody else. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, everybody. That was my ranking list of my top 10 Ninjago villains. Now I wanna hear your rankings and ideas in the comments below. Looking forward to them. Also, make sure to leave your opinions in my Discord server. I'll be leaving a link to that in the description below. Well, that's all for today, everybody. Have a safe time and peace out.